Today's topic is we are going to see magnetic force, NCERT 12th standard physics. In that we are going to see about the sources and fields that will appear as magnetic field. Okay. First we know Coulomb's law. If you have two charges, force of attraction or repulsion is directly proportional to Q and Q2 and inversely proportional to the distance square. So we know that. The constant of proportionality is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught r cap. This is r cap. So we know the force. Force, we know the product of charges divided by distance square. Now if you bring one of the charges this side, it will become F by Q. Assume it is a test charge. Then we will get the electric field. So if you bring one this side, one Q this side, F by Q, so you will get Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r squared, where E is the electric field. So now we have a relation between electric field, force and charge. So we can say force is equal to E into Q. Okay, this is one point. So generally if you see, the fields will change with respect to time. That means the electromagnetic fields, if you see, if sine wave electric field goes like this, magnetic field will be perpendicular. It is also sinusoidal and there is a direction. Both electrical and magnetic fields, so this is, assume this is the electric field, goes like this. Magnetic field will be in this direction. Both are perpendicular, electrical field and magnetic field, and they move in this direction. That means the direction of propagation is perpendicular both to electric and magnetic field. So that's why we call it as the fields will change with respect to time. Okay, that's what we call it as electromagnetic waves. Static charges produce an electric field. So in the initial topics when we deal with the charges, static field will always produce, static charges will always produce electric field. But once the charge gets moving, that means charges starts moving. When a charge starts moving, you have a electric current. Okay, so suppose this is the direction of current and the magnetic field will be like this. Both are perpendicular. Okay. So moving charges produce both electric as well as magnetic field. Whereas static charges produce only electric field. This is an important point. Static charges produces an electric field, whereas when a charge moves, moving charges produces electric as well as magnetic field. The magnetic field usually is represented by B vector. If you see in CRT, cathode ray tube television, the electron will start moving from cathode to anode, very high potential. But when you supply a magnetic field around the flow of charges, that is electric current from cathode to anode, this beam, electric current, can be deflected left, right, top, bottom. That depends on the field. Why it is bending? Because of the magnetic force, because of the magnetic field. Okay, right. Now, having said all this information, assume that we have two wires. Very similar to CRT explanation. This current is already having, a current is flowing with the value I. I am calling this as current I. And now we have another conductor having a charge Q. Okay. Assume that this is at static rest. If this is rest, then there is no moving charges. That means there is no magnetic field. Okay. Only when the charge starts moving, it experiences a force from this conductor. Assume this is negative flow of electrons and this is positive, the charge is positive, then it will attract towards this. The attraction is due to what? A magnetic force. How a magnetic force is created? Because of a magnetic field. So generally we can have a relation for force and the magnetic flux density B vector. So force vector is equal to charge V vector, V is velocity, multiplied by B vector, magnetic flux density vector. This is a cross product. If I say cross product, assume this is V, this is B. Now V cross B, that is QV in this direction, B is in this direction. V cross B rotates anti-clockwise, the resultant force will be in this direction. Suppose QV is in this direction and B vector, magnetic field density, is in this direction, then QV vector cross product with B vector, this will hit B, so it moves clockwise, that means it goes inside, the screw concept. So this is the basic idea, and if you have different magnetic fields, then you have to go for vector addition. What is vector addition? Assume you have three magnetic fields, okay, B1, B2 and B3. So the net, so this is B1 vector, this is B2 vector and B3 vector. We have three vectors, all are magnetic field. Okay, now the vector addition, graphically we can do like, so B1 is here, then B2 with some angle theta, okay. So from here you make a theta angle, so this is B2, this is B1, this is B2, and once again we have B3, from here it is 90 degrees, so it will move here, so this is B3. So the resultant of these three vectors, of course with paperwork and the vector basic vector algebra, we can always find the resultant. This is graphical representation. So the resultant of B1, B2, B3 will be like this. This is the resultant vector, BR, and it has some direction, okay. That means magnetic flux density will have its own direction. This is resultant, okay. Now we have two important persons, one is Faraday, another one is Maxwell. Faraday insists on one point, say electric field or voltage, whereas Maxwell dealt with interconnecting electric and magnetic field. So we will see what is that Faraday's basic equation and Maxwell's basic equations. So by Faraday's law, we have the EMF or voltage is equal to minus N d phi by dt, rate of change of flux linkages. The unit is volts. Okay, N is number of turns of the coil. If it is going to be 1, then 1, that is minus d phi by dt. You can realize the same voltage in electrical domain, that is minus L di by dt. L is the inductance value of the coil, L value, and di by dt is the rate of change of current, the same unit, volts. The current should vary, if not it is 0, then the voltage developed across the inductor is 0. And we have one more equation which is equal to integral, this is a line integral, closed line integral, E vector, electric field vector dot dl. So this integration is carried out with respect to dl. Okay. Now this is Faraday's law. If you carefully see, it relates only one parameter, voltage, current, or electric field and voltage, but it is not does not have a relation with the magnetic field. So therefore, this is the stepping stone for Maxwell's final equations. Okay, we will see Maxwell equations. You will see two basic equations and see the difference between Faraday's law and Maxwell's law. So, Maxwell's law. Actually, it has 4 laws. I want to say only 2 laws. This means a closed integral, E dot dl. dl means with respect to length, so it is a line integral, which is equal to minus integral dou b by dou t into ds. So this is surface integral. That means it relates a line integral with surface integral. ds means area, small area. That means integration of the magnetic flux density. That is rate of change. This means rate of change of flux density. It's a partial differentiation into the variable integration with respect to ds. ds is small area. Now if you carefully see, E is electric field and B is magnetic field. So Maxwell gave us an important relation connecting electric field and the magnetic field. But in Faraday's law, we have only an interconnection between voltage and current, or voltage and flux. Okay. So here we have a direct relation expressing magnetic field in terms of electric, or electric field in terms of magnetic field. Okay. Then we have one more relation, H dot dl is equal to I plus dou d by dou t into. So this is one important expression, integral into ds. This is basically surface. Now H is magnetic field intensity, H, and we have a relation between B is equal to mu H. This is the relation. B we know, magnetic flux density unit is Webers per meter square. Mu means permeability, and that can be split into mu naught mu r. Mu naught is permeability of free space, 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 entries per meter, and mu r is relative permeability. That means this mu can be split into mu naught and mu r. And H is the magnetic field intensity. So we have a connection. So wherever you have H, you can replace by H is equal to B by mu. Okay, and of course mu is going to be constant. I is the current, D is the electric flux density, coulomb per meter square. Okay, now if you carefully see, this is a magnetic parameter, magnetic field. H means magnetic field. You can write it as H is B by mu. B by mu. That means H is a magnetic field. Dot dl, it's a closed line integral, is equal to I plus integral, is a area integral, ds. ds is small area. Dou d by dou t. I told you what is d. d is electrical flux density, coulombs per meter square. Okay. Now if you carefully see, this is magnetic field H and relates to current and electric flux. That's mean magnetic field is this is equal to, is expressed in terms of current and electric flux density. You have an interconnection. So electric field is represented in terms of magnetic field, and magnetic field is represented in terms of electric field. So that's why Maxwell's law is very famous. Actually, he has given 4 laws. I have, for explanation of this topic, I have considered only 2 laws. So Maxwell's relation relates electric field to magnetic field and magnetic field to electric field. So that's all about this topic, magnetic force, magnetic field, influence of magnetic field. What happens when a charge is static? What happens when it is moving? Moving charges produces electric field as magnetic field we saw. And what is the force? How velocity and magnetic flux density are related? We have cross product, and therefore we can find the direction of force. Having said all these things, that's all about magnetic force and magnetic field introduction. Thanks for watching. Nandri.